Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock and Roll podcast. Check out this record. My name is Mark, and with me is a man who will throw in the black keys for free. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frankie D.
Hey, Mark, what's cooking, my friend?
Thank you for joining us on this rock and roll adventure, as always, Frank. Now, while you're out there exploring the world and talking to your friends about how hilarious our podcast is, remember to tell them, check out this record is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music, or wherever else they find podcasts. God damn it. We're even on YouTube.
That's right. Now, new episodes drip to the drop directly to your ears every Friday. And of course, all of this is for your listening pleasure.
So what the heck is Check Out This Record? Great question. And thank you for asking. Yeah. Here on Check Out This Record, Frank and I push the limits of our long-term friendship by recommending albums to each other.
Yeah, we do.
You know, then we get together here and give each album a thorough review. We also have a wide array of musical discussions, like in our Spotlight series, where we'll dig into a band's catalog and see what comes out the other side.
That's right, Mark. And then we'll get people really aggravated with our Versus series, where we pit two albums against each other and they duke it out for this thing that we like to call total stereo domination.
Oh, that's right. Now, if social media is your thing, be sure to check us out on Instagram. That's right. We're on Instagram. Oh, and what about our Facebook group? That's right. We have a Facebook group. We like to drop additional content, hopefully leaving you wanting more of Frank's musical insights and obsessions. And of course, whatever random nonsense my brain can come up with.
That's right. Now, don't forget to pop over to the world famous Tuba the U and watch us make silly faces as we try to put this thing together that we're trying to do. And again, this is all just for you.
That's right. And on this week's program, we're going to dig into the band that Frank's going to give you for free, the Black Keys.
That's right.
It's their first #1 album in Australia, Frank. In Canada, Frank.
Oh.
And in the US, Frank.
Oh.
It's called Turn Blue.
I didn't know those countries had Frank at the end of them.
Yeah. Australia Frank is really nice. You should go. Now, US Frank. This is a band that's been a major part of mainstream rock and roll since the release of their 2010 release, Brothers, which won 3 Grammys, by the way, despite their prevalence, in the garage rock revival of the early 2000s and mainstream rock and roll radio. I've just somehow not had time to focus on them, and I don't want to say completely missed them, but look, this is a band you and I are taking a late pass on, so we're going to learn a little bit about them. But let me ask you this, Frank, as our garage rock expert on the show, given our limited knowledge of their catalog, how do you think they stack up against some of your favorites and some of the mainstream contemporaries, if you will? I'm thinking about bands like the White Stripes and the Hives and the Strokes and whatever else your gorgeous little brain can pull out, my friend.
Well, thank you. And thank you for pointing out that my brain is little because... Okay.
Oh, come on now.
Okay.
It is gorgeous, though.
It is. That's my point, right? Mm-hmm. And another point I'd like to bring up is for those who say we don't cover popular bands. Okay, here we go. So anyway, that's a great question, Mark. And I mean, first, I think they stack up very well, if not on the frontier of that list. Their brand, especially in this album, is really atmospheric, bluesy, indie, and garagey. I made that word up. All at the same time. Now, those other bands you mentioned, like, listen, the Hives are very in your face with a more aggressive form style because that's rooted in punk. The other two, White Stripes and the Strokes, were just the ones that got picked to be the flag bearers of the genre by the record companies in the early 2000s. Snap. That's my opinion. Sorry, guys. In all seriousness, listen, I don't mind those bands at all, but I'm also not playing the White Stripes and the Strokes, the vinyls in my house. So,
do you think that garagey is a term like Canadian Kana, where later on we're gonna find out that it really is a term or word that people use?
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's get a brief history on the band and how Turn Blue came to be. So the Black Keys are essentially 2 lifelong friends.
Like us.
They're Dan Auerbach on guitar and vocals. Frank wrote that in, and he's the one who almost missed it.
I did.
And Patrick Carney on drums. And on this album, they both play some piano and or keyboard, along with a gentleman known as Brian Burton, better known as the producer Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse.
Cartoon I loved growing showing up. Yeah,
love it.
Show I loved growing up. Thank you. He co-wrote and co-produced on the album as well. Production started for Turn Blue in January 2013 while taking a break from touring their previous album, El Camino. Much like El Camino, the band entered the studio every day without having anything written and spent the day creating music together.
Wow.
The band spent 12 days recording at the Key Club in Benton Harbor, Michigan, putting the recording process on hold after sleeping above the studio, never leave the building the entire time.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, it seems like they really just burnt that candle there. They tried to record again in Nashville after touring South America, but Auerbach walked out of the studio after the first day saying he, quote, didn't want to waste their time, end quote. After a vacation in one of Frank's favorite spots, North Kakalaki, the band would get back together in July of 2013, this time in Hollywood's Sunset Studio, where the bulk of the album would come together, with Auerbach finishing his vocals in his studio in Nashville. Now, Frank, there is one more element to this record that would come to the surface as the principal recording would come to an end,
right?
Which is that Dan Auerbach's divorce would be finalized, putting a large impact of the tone and feeling on the album. As I'm sure Frank and I are, I don't know, we're like freaks amongst the married community. Frank and I like being married. I know that's not like a dude thing to say, but we happen to love our wives.
Absolutely.
And can only imagine the heartache going through divorce would put a singer and songwriter through.
Absolutely.
So Auerbach said that his emotional state during the divorce imbued the album with a moody feeling. Quote, I've never relied on music to get me through anything like I did on this one. This past year, I realized how fortunate I was to have this thing I can do, make music and lyrically saying things that are personal, end quote. All right, Frank. Ooh. Now that we've got the skinny on how the band, excuse me, are you ready to dive into this album?
Absolutely. And I wonder if back in our band days, Mark, if we should have just written in the studio.
I don't know. I was a pretty terrible drummer, but I appreciate you letting me play with you for so long. Here we go.
Let's go, my man.
Turn Blue, released May 12th, 2004 on Nonsuch, a Warner-owned record label. Track number 1, Weight of Love. Now that is weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. We are talking about the heaviness or lack thereof of love. A nearly 7-minute opening track with a big, moody, bluesy opening and guitar intro that takes the better part of like 2 minutes before we hit any singing. The title track actually has, excuse me, not the title track. The track actually has 3 individual solos, something Dan Auerbach felt came across as a little self-indulgent. But the rest of the band encouraged him to play them on, and he thought that they left a great sound for opening up the record. What do you think, Frank? Did Weight of Love get bogged down in excess, or does this blues jam hold up under the weight of love?
Nice. So I think this song plays like a story, man. And I'm cool with the slow build and the fact that it's 7 minutes. The atmosphere for those 2 minutes is really like, it's like the opening sequence of a movie, as I kind of mentioned before, hence the story. I really love the tone of that bass, and the solos are great and they add to the epic feel. I actually thought that this song could do without its chorus because it was just, I think, that potent. I didn't really think it's needed. Not that I didn't mind the chorus, but I'm just thinking with its length, it could even be spaced out to even more verses. But I'm totally cool with the 7-minute opener.
Very cool. Very cool. Track number 2, In Time.
In Time.
The big hook here on the chorus will remind a lot of our fans of past records. Something the band always tried, that is the band's own past record, something the band always tried to focus on was doing something new without betraying the sound they had before. It's an interesting concept.
It is.
How does In Time stack up as a garage rock number for you, Frank?
Yeah, if you look at the cover of this album, you can almost get lost, right, in that, and I think this is almost the perfect song to do that to. Since I'm unfamiliar with the older stuff, I'm glad that this is something that they keep true to their ethos. It's a fun garage rock number for sure.
Very nice, very nice. Track number 3, Turn Blue. So title track in the 3 spot, Frank. It's a bold move. We get very big sound here with Dan Auerbach providing a pulsing bass line paired with the swirling of the keyboards effect to create a sound of almost floating in space here. Frank, what do you think of the title track? And if you had to guess, what does the title track mean? Is it A, suffocation, B, sadness, C, numbness from extreme cold, D, a Cleveland late night TV shows from the 60s named Gouldardy, or E, all of the above?
Oh man, I'm glad you hit me with these questions for this track. As I can tell right now, this is my favorite track on the record. It encompasses all the band is trying to convey, and it's the title track, which that made it even more appealing to me. First of all, I love the chill vibe and the opening guitar playing. The modes and the chords that Dan's using are things that I try to play around with when I'm just noodling on the guitar at home. And the bass notes, I feel it's like they're almost, and I'm going to say it in a little bit again, it's where they're almost like loose and they're kind of hitting the guitar, so you could kind of hear just this kind of stable beat, which is pretty cool. So given the knowledge of the divorce here, I think it's E, to answer your question, all of the above. All those feelings we get once you're in that point of being in hell, which is what he states, then comes to one realizations as to what hell is, which is a time for moving on in this case, right? So might I add, I didn't even like the chorus at first, and then when it repeated again the second go around and that repeats twice, I'm like, okay, I get it now. I just needed to hear it again. This song to me is really good, really cool.
Yeah, super cool how it pulls you in kind of with that hypnotic feel, a little bit more like the cover, as you mentioned, that big hypnotic swirl. So to answer the question, in case folks at home want to know if Frank is right or wrong, right? The answer, according to the drummer,
is Patrick.
According to Patrick, is D, a Cleveland late night TV host from the 60s named Gouldardy. But honestly, all of the answers are accurate. So Frank, you are correct. E is the correct answer.
Yep. Now the fans out there could order me the vinyl and send it over my way.
Yes, please. I'll take a copy as well. This is one I don't own, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, track 4, Fever.
Ooh.
That's right. We're picking the tempo up here, Frank. Fever seems to explore the excitement and disappointment around falling in and out of love. What kind of energy were you getting here, Frank? I hope you're not getting sick of my bad jokes like a fever.
Never, my man. Plus, they're much better than mine could ever be, so they're welcomed. This is a head bobbing number, and let me just take a minute to show you.
See, that's some serious head bopping right there. Look at him go.
It's because I have rhythm.
You should put a brace on just in case. I don't want you to hurt your neck. It really looks like you could hurt yourself.
The lyrical nature obviously brings us back to the divorce, which makes complete sense, right? I wouldn't say the chorus to me on this is one of my favorites, but this is still a song that you could jam out to. And again, bobbing the old head. So, another good track for sure.
Definitely. All right, track number 5. It's a year in review. All right, Frank, here we are. It's June 28th. Let's talk about January 1st.
All right.
Ready?
I'm
what
ready.
Were you do? No. We're talking about the song track 5, year in review.
Oops.
We're not going to literally go through day by day Frank's year up to this point.
Yep.
Now, theoretically, we're getting a look into Auerbach's ability to deal with his divorce, right?
Yeah.
We also hear the band explore a bit more of that ethereal sound, something the band wanted to focus on was making this album less about hits and more about the satisfaction of putting on a pair of headphones and falling into an album. Have they pulled you in yet, Frank?
Yeah, let me read you my notes on this. I have eggs, 2 packages of bacon, milk. Oh, that's the grocery list.
That's the grocery list. But that said, I would like to come over for breakfast now.
Yes, absolutely. So listen, Mark, just call me Buzz Aldrin on this because I feel like I'm in space with these tunes. I really am. And you know, certain albums serve a certain purpose for certain people. I know I went like, you know, layers deep there and an infinite number of meanings for things, but that's kind of the way I conduct my life. This is one of those late night albums. You could just get lost in the stars, man. And this song is it. So, you know, I really felt that even though the lyrical content is of 2 people not being at peace, listening to it, I kind of felt that peace.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes that's the way dissatisfaction feels, right?
Yes, sir.
Track 6, Bullet in the Brain.
What?
So we're midway point of the album. The band keeps up the ethereal sound, but brings in some seriously grounded rock tune here, allowing them to really get loud for the first time on this album so far, adding a bit more of their signature sound to their moodier than usual album at this point. How do you feel, buddy? You ready to put a bullet in your brain, or are we moving on?
I'm holding up, my man. The beginning of this track with Dan singing "A Bullet in the Brain," for some reason, I heard some Paul McCartney vocal tones, which is kind of cool. I like the funky bass part that you could also play on the guitar. Also, again, whatever they're doing, again, that make the strings almost feel like they're not tightly wound all the way, and they're either hitting the guitar or like the pickups or whatever they're doing. I think is really cool, and I probably described it wrong, but in my head that's what I imagine. But yeah, another strong track next to Turn Blue. It's probably my second favorite.
Very cool. Track number 7 is It's Up to You Now, Frank.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Carney bangs out a cool intro on the toms here that Auerbach complements perfectly with his heavy fuzz on his guitar and bass parts. It's a shorter song for the band and has a pretty simple verse and chorus, but I love the way the band leans into the fuzz on the back half of this tune to lay down a cool solo and give us some awesome fusion of blues and garage rock. All right, Frank.
Yeah,
it's up to you.
Oh,
now.
It certainly is, bro. I like the guitar riff. As a guitarist, it's in a very comfortable spot on the first string between the 3rd and the 5th fret, which is
right now I know where it is. Yeah,
very natural place to be. I think I like the music on this actually better than the lyrics and the melodies, as that could be a little bit forgettable for my taste. But the music, which is cool about this, and adds to the atmospheric characteristic of this album, totally makes up for it. Most
excellent. All right, track number 8. Let's see if Frank gets some satisfaction here with the Waiting on the Words. Is the name of this track. This track opens with a light strummed electric guitar and a methodically paced vocal delivery. The drums build into the second verse and settle right in with the vocals and patiently wait to build the tempo yet again, and a wall of sound around you as the listener to the song progresses, and then you just feel the whole thing build. I said that kind of backwards, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Lyrically, thank you. Frank speaks enough Mark. Lyrically, I love how simple these lyrics are. He's not overdoing any of these emotions and selling his heartache in a very relatable way. You got any words?
Yeah, I like, again, the simple lyrics that he's using. And he's using his voice to permeate like the heartfelt emotion. I like the use of the tremolo on the verses too. It gives it the ability to let the verses sustain and they make their mark to the listener's ear, which I thought was really cool. So again, it's these little things they're adding, which are they're paying attention to the details, which is very important, I think, in an album like this, that were pleasant to the ears.
Beautiful. Track number 9. I like to make jokes about song titles that reflect Frank and I. Here we go. 10 Lovers. I'll leave that to the audience. This feels like it could have been a hit for the band, but it wasn't one of the album's singles for some reason. We get the difficulties of walking away from someone you love, laid over the rootsy garage rock funk with a fun, heavy fuzz droning in the background. as the song progresses. The song is a perfect example of what modern blues rock can, and in my opinion, should sound like. How many lovers have I killed with that statement, brother?
Oh, at least 1,980, I'd say, which is a plug for my birth year, which also doesn't make any sense at all in this context. But that's the only thing I could think of.
Hey, 1980, if you're listening, you owe us a check.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both of us for 1,980.
Yeah. Right. Each.
It's kind of generous.
Yeah, I mean the promotion they're getting here for free. I mean,
they get off. Yeah, they get off scot-free with that. But yeah, I hear a hit single on this, and I think it is a perfect example of modern blues rock. You know, the Bonamassa album that we did a couple episodes ago in the archives is way more, I think, about almost now like a hard classic blues rock album. And here the Keys, the band that is, are really capturing rock, kind of what it currently sounds like, and this is what it's brought to the table. So I'm with you on that statement.
Great comparison.
Well, thank you.
Track 10, In Our Prime. If we're to believe the internet, this was originally going to be the closer on the album, but the band agreed that it was a little too sad and moved it up a spot. It's not one of my favorites on the album. The tempo changes feel a bit rushed, and the song doesn't groove the way you'd like for a large chunk of the middle of the song. Or at least I would like. Lyrically, it's not bad, but it starts to feel a hint repetitive at this point. That said, I do dig the big old keyboard organ and guitar solo towards the end, only for the rhythm to drop and feel a little unnatural again until the guitar comes back for the final solo. What says you, Franktimus Prime?
Well, Markatron, I see the repetitive nature start to take its toll. And when again, referring to these albums having a purpose for the listener, I think this is one of those ones that you sit back, you let play, you enjoy it in the background. And to your point, yeah, it is one of the lesser liked tracks. But again, I think there's a purpose to it. And I actually would have ended the album with this, considering its kind of just tone overall. I think this was a good way to end the album.
I agree with you. Track 11, Gotta Get Away.
The Offspring song?
Yes, that's right. It's a cover of the Offspring song as sung by Christopher Walken. Gotta Get Away. Anyways, we get a big smack of almost kind of 80s country right up front here. At the end with the guitar riff. So it just comes off this big intro with a country rock. I don't know what I tried to write there. Anyways, it's a fun number with a catchy chorus, but I don't love it as the closer for the album. It almost doesn't feel like it belongs really on this album. It very much sounds like a Black Keys song. It just doesn't feel like it was meant to be on this album. I would have liked something that wrapped up the album a bit more sonically, but I did just say it was starting to feel a hint repetitive. So what can I say? Pretty good song, surprisingly short, but I think misplaced here at the end. Perhaps a revisit to Weight of Love would have been a better touch here at the end, Frank. I don't know, honestly. What about you, Frank? You giving this another spin, or do you just want to get away from this track?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of out of place. I can see this as a bonus track on an extended version. I mean, honestly, like I just said, I think the previous song, which they didn't like as the ending track, could have been the ending track, or a reprise of The Weight of Love. I mean, you think of like the first album I could think of that has this is like Sgt. Pepper. We have Sgt. Pepper, but then the reprise towards the end of the album, or even Turn Blue, right? Because that's the theme. That's the theme of the album, and that's the title track. Some sort of reprise. It could have been like 2 minutes long. Again, atmospheric. A couple lyrics maybe here and there that are repetitive of it, maybe in a different pace. It's not a bad tune, this song. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Closing thoughts time, buddy.
Oh, now, buddy.
I picked this album as part of a scheme to get you into a request, which we will be getting into in about 2 weeks. So Frank will have a pick, and then my next pick will be the request. But my focus here was to find a cool blues rock album with a big old hit of soul. How'd I do?
Mark, you did good, my man. And I enjoyed this record. As I mentioned before, when I think of blues rock, I thought of the album The Ballad of John Henry by Bonamassa, just loud, guitars blaring, rocking. However, there's a version of blues played this way as well, a more contemporary indie way, perhaps, but nevertheless, this was pleasing to my ears, especially the fuzz rock and the guitar solos. Now, I'll be honest here. Where I struggle is that hit of or hint. I put hint of soul for some reason, and that's where I find it challenging. Falsetto vocals just never been my thing. I think sometimes it waters down songs. However, I didn't feel that though with this record. I feel it's a perfect nighttime record, and the fact that you presented it to me, that as a record that really didn't have the hits, kind of made it a little bit more appealing in my eyes. The
Sure.
title track for me is personally where it's at. It touches all the facets of what makes a song special. Again, these are things that I play around with the guitar on and kind of really like that sound in my spare time when I try to jam out. So very enjoyable record for me, and I give this a nice and firm 7 out of 10.
Oh, very nice. So I've
And
recently
firm.
fallen. Yes, it's very firm. I've recently fallen in love with the Black Keys, in case that wasn't obvious yet. And as I got into their catalog, this album stuck out to me for its kind of more somber tone, mood, and texture. This doesn't feel like a concept album, but there is a cohesive feeling that keeps 99% of the album really grooving in kind of the same direction. It's very cool headphone experience. Definitely put some on, turn it up, get yourself a dark room. It's definitely worth it. I'm also giving this a 7 out of 10. Please don't think that this is me taking the piss out of the band. I really enjoyed this album.
Go Sevens.
And I look forward from hearing more from this particular duo. Although, Frank, you do make an interesting point. If I were critiquing the band as a whole, the falsetto voice is the thing I like the least, because much like you, I do not particularly care for that falsetto singing. It's always been something that I've never understood.
Thank you.
But it works really well here. They use it to their advantage.
Right. It makes you not mind it. I mean, that's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, that's fair. So this week I thought I'd mix things up and put together a little playlist together so Frank can wow us with his knowledge of garage rock. Ooh. Frank, well, why don't you kick us off?
All right, garage rock songs. The first one I always think of is Louie Louie, the Kingsmen. Yes, originally by Richard Berry, I know, but this Kingsmen version added the fuzz to the classic tune, really accented the simple kind of verse chorus song here. I definitely think that is a precursor to garage rock.
Very cool, very cool. My first choice is the MC5, Kick Out the Jam.
Kick Out the
Jam. Much like you, when people say garage rock, this is kind of the first thing I think of. I mean, it's a classic for the genre. I love the excitement and experimentation that this song really gave the world, and what it allowed, what it did for the genre, I think is unmistakable, because it's just such an iconic song.
Yeah, totally. What's always fascinating with that band is, and I get it, Wayne Kramer is the one who always kind of gets the focal point, but the vocalist who passed away, Rob Tyner. I mean, the guy was like totally legit, man. Totally legit. Yeah. Very, very like front man, like classical front man. He could command the crowd and stuff like that. But pretty cool. It's a shame he died pretty young too. So I just wanted to say that. All right. The next song is I Fought the Law, the Bobby Fuller 4 version. So it's another cover. It was written by Sonny Curtis, but Bobby Fuller put that jangle. They put the jangle in it, and like the blaring guitars, again, that kind of give it that pre-garage feel. So I always felt that this version had a little hint of that.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm picking a kind of a different one here for our next choice. It's the Fuzz Tones. And the song called She's Wicked. This is a recent discovery for me. The Fuzz Tones are an early 80s New York City band that dabbled in the macabre and, well, fuzz. There's a ton of fun. They are a ton of fun. And I dig their old school rock and roll sound. It's garage meets rockabilly. In the 80s, it's just a ton of fun.
Yeah. The next one, which is you'll see on the script, is blank, but I actually did have something there. I don't know what happened. Sure. It's the most popular Dinosaur Jr. song, "Feel the Pain." Band we probably gotta get more into, but
we do.
Absolutely, and their catalog is just absolutely very, very impressive, prolific songwriters, everyone refers me back to them. So I'll be honest here. I think we definitely have to do that. But anyway, the song "Feel the Pain" is, again, it it has a lot of alternative rock sound, but again, fuzzy guitars. You feel like you're in a garage when you're listening to that song, and I think that definitely fits some of the mold. It doesn't have to be the full circle, but there's a tiny portion of it.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
I can get into that.
Cool.
My next choice is actually the White Stripes, Frank.
Oh,
yeah, a little song called Icky Thump. I know this is kind of a little cliche. Look, it's another duo that I skipped over because they were just too popular out of the gate.
sure.
In retrospect, the band and Icky Thump in particular are pretty damn fun and just a good ass time to jam to. This is an odd, especially this modern garage rock revival where the bands are taking themselves very seriously. The White Stripes for me, made it difficult to get into them with how serious they're taking being so silly. But really, when you can get past that and just listen to the jams, it's a pretty cool song, my man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Track number 4 is this band called The Kills, and the song is called Doing It to Death. I'm not sure how I came across them. Actually, as I'm saying this, I think I know. I think I was watching something with Matt Pinfield, and he mentioned this band. But the song has a total garage rock, lo-fi vibe. The singer's also from Vero Beach, so shout out there.
What up, Florida? There
you go. It's another 2-person band, and really makes this big sound. So between the guitarist and the lead singer's vocals, I think they really got a good sound together, and I like the song Doing It to Death. The band is The Kills.
All right, Vero Beach, you heard your name, send us a check.
Woo!
That's right.
$1,980.
That's right. My next choice, Frank, is a total classic. It's the Kinks, L.O.L.A. Lola. This has always been one of my favorite Kinks tune, and I think it does the best job of showing how versatile the band really is and showcase what an amazing songwriters they were. It's just such a cool and unique number, and it really has that kind of like we're partying in the garage feel. This sounds like a song that came together in a garage and just was too cool to not do again. You know what I mean? Totally. It's just that kind of cool song.
Yeah, it all came together, man, for that perfect moment. And Weird Al's version of Yoda is very enjoyable.
Y-O-D-A, Yoda. Yeah, Yoda. Did I get it wrong? I get it right.
That's just how it goes, So,
all right, Weird Al, you owe us money.
Yes.
$980.
Oh, we dropped 1,000.
I thought I said it, but whatever. For Weird Al, he gets a discount. Go ahead.
There you go. My next track is Valoria by Pixies. I know it's kind of alt rock, but they've definitely personified that fuzzy nature, and it gives it a cool rock vibe. It could be one of my favorite songs from the band, but Valoria, great track. You need to blare it, and it kind of gives you that space feeling too. So
yeah. So the last track that we're gonna put on this playlist for you is Marc and the Mysterians. 96. Yes, actually. 96 Teardrops. I used this song in another list that we did somewhere at some point, but it's a song in a band that I just absolutely adore. I really dig just the way they embody that early garage rock sound. And how cool and fun they were. It's kind of fun and sad at the same time, and like, what's not to love about that, right? Like my emo kid showing, I don't know.
Oh, wowie zowie, Mark. That was a fun one.
It really was a lot of fun. What do we have for us next week?
Well, do you like how I keep doing this, where I don't keep putting this stuff
I love
in
it.
there?
I love the surprise. Give it to me, baby. Hold on. I got a pencil.
Give it a
and a piece of paper. I can write down what you're gonna say to me.
You have a Scantron.
I do have it's a number 3 pencil.
You can't take the test.
Fail this test. I got a number 3 pencil.
You can't take the test today. All right. So this is an album. I'm gonna say I'm not familiar with it. So it's been something that I've wanted to thoroughly listen to, because it keeps getting thrown my way, where if you like this, then you will like this, and this is part of the influence as a whole. Okay. And I figured, well, what better way to go ahead and do it on this show, and both of us could listen to it and talk about it. So I'm going into this not knowing how
just say it already
good the album is. You like how I keep doing that? So it's a band we know. See, you told me you did, and now you're telling me you're not.
Because you're not. You're just pushing it off.
Well, I gotta take a sip of water. No.
Okay.
So it's a band we know. Okay.
The
album's from 1988. And it's called and it's called it's called Hang Time, and it's by Soul Asylum.
Get the front door out of here. You're
Yeah.
gonna make me listen to Soul Asylum.
I am. Soul Asylum 1988 record Hang Time. This is the first of their major label releases and two albums before Gravediggers Union, which got them obviously massive play. So this is before they got popular, right? Now early on they're from Minneapolis, right? So they have the hint of the Replacements, Husker Du, apparently. But I was always told if you like those bands, you will like Soul Asylum and this particular album. So again, I'm going into it where I don't know if this album is good, but I want time to listen to it. So here we are.
Here we are.
Uh-oh.
I can't wait to check it out.
Okay, go. Oh man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So thank you all for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, suggest. More importantly, be careful out there.
I'm not sure where the Y in Asylum is, but hell yes, do all that. And I say it with me now, if you would, please, and thank you. You ready, Frank?
I'm ready.
Oh my. Oh hell yes. Oh, bye-bye. Recording has ended.